Illinois out schemes, out coaches, outsmarts, outplays Kansas for a close win in Champaign, Illinois. The final score, the Illini 23, the Jayhawks 17. Before we react to this game and give analysis, I want you, Uncle Sam wants you, to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, to click that notification bell so that you can help us get into the algorithm, so we can get more subscribers, and so that you can get notified when we release new college football content. Also, share this video around to any college football fans you know, and comment your reaction to this game down below, your analysis. You probably saw something that I didn't. It's always good to get more perspectives. The takeaway I had in this game was the fact that Illinois' defense has clearly improved. And also Kansas's offense has clearly gotten worse. Both things can be true. Typically, the truth is somewhere in the middle between two extremes. But I would lean more so toward the fact that Illinois' defense has gotten better. You saw great secondary play against great receivers. Jalen Daniels did make some pretty bad throws. However, at the same time, Illinois was just always there in coverage, and they were very disciplined in their assignments. Illinois only had 2 penalties for 20 yards, for example. So very disciplined performance from the Illini. Their offense wasn't even that great in this game, only 271 total yards, but they only had 1 turnover. So despite the fact that Kansas put up 327 total yards, 18 first downs, so 4 more first downs, and Illinois only had about a 1-minute possession advantage on the Jayhawks. Illinois had overall the more efficient passing performance. They controlled the game by winning the turnover battle, and Kansas had 9 TFLs, 2 sacks. I think I mentioned in some of my previews that I thought that Kansas had a pretty underrated, pretty great defensive front, and that showed. But Zachary Franklin, man, he made some plays. Pat Bryant made plays, led the team in receptions with 9. And Caden Fegan, he came up when necessary. Same with Khalil Valentine, and Luke Altmaier had a 70.7 QBR, didn't turn over the football once. Illinois earns a scrappy win at home. And I say scrappy because Illinois does not have a ton of talent, and they are going to be in more close games this season. And if they want to go bowling, they're going to have to pull out more close wins like they did against Kansas, where, look, they outcoached, out-schemed, outplayed, and beat a Kansas team who I think is more talented than Illinois is, and I think in a power ranking sense is probably better than Illinois. And they're going to beat Central Michigan this coming Saturday, most likely. But after that, a road trip to Nebraska, then a road trip to Penn State, back-to-back ranked opponents, hosting Purdue, hosting Michigan, traveling to Oregon, hosting Minnesota, hosting Michigan State off of a bye, traveling to Rutgers, and traveling to Northwestern. They are going to be in a lot of close games where they will once again need the defense to step up, Luke Altmaier to be efficient, and for Brett Bielema to be on his game, to coach at an A-plus level, to be on the ball. And with a win over Kansas, they can beat a lot of teams on their schedule. I mean, you look at how poorly Michigan's looked. Oregon lacks integrity in the trenches and lacks consistency. Nebraska, I don't think they're invincible. I think they're good, but not invincible. And Rutgers, Northwestern, Michigan State, I mean, a lot of these teams I mentioned can beat Illinois, but Illinois can also beat them. But before we talk about the winner of this game some more, we always save the best for last on this channel, and we mostly talk about the winners in these reactions. But I do want to talk about Kansas for a few minutes here. They need to figure out their quarterback, Jalen Daniels. He went 18 of 32 and averaged less than 5 yards per pass attempt. He had 141 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks, one of which was a pick six that lost Kansas the game. If not for the Xavier Scott 30-yard interception return that happened like less than a minute before halftime, it would have been 10-6 at the half, and then 17-6 at the end of the third quarter. And then, well, 17-13 when David Alano made his 43-yard field goal. Like, before that, if all you changed was the pick six, then Illinois would have had to go for it to try and get a touchdown to win the game, because it would have been 17-13, and a field goal wouldn't have done anything. That pick six was the game changer. That was the inflection point, I think is the correct term to use. That was where things changed. And you see it in ESPN's FPI. Kansas was trending up. They had about a 70% chance to win. Then it went all the way down to about 50-50. And then Kansas once again got the momentum, took the lead. And then, Illinois took the momentum. They took over the fourth quarter and won 23-17. Daniels was a player that I was high on. I thought he was going to bounce back and have a great 2024 season. It doesn't look like so far that's the case. He has a 35.8 quarterback efficiency rating, which is outside the top 100. He has a passer rating of 113.1. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has 10 carries for 35 yards. He looks like a player who has not played college football in quite some time, consistently. And that is indeed the case. His last season where he played college football like consistently for more than 3-4 games was 2022 and then 2021. And he wasn't healthy for all of 2022 either. So Kansas needs to figure out quarterback. The defense, I mean, they held Illinois to 16 offensive points. I think this Kansas defense is better than many expected them to be in the preseason, particularly up front, where Marvin Grant, and then in the backfield, obviously with O.J. Burrows, Kobe Bryant, and Mello Dotson. I think that this team is great on defense, especially for Big 12 caliber play. And the rushing offense, Devin Neal at over 100 yards on only 14 carries for 7.2 yards per pop. They had nearly 200 rushing yards, 186 to be exact, and averaged over 5 yards per carry, 5.6. So they figure out quarterback with Luke Grimm, with Lawrence Arnold, with Jared Casey. I think they're going to be just fine. If they figure out quarterback, this is a team that can still win the Big 12. But quarterback is a big, big position, especially when you don't have such a dominant O-line, rushing attack, and defense to where you can win with just a mid-level performer at quarterback. And right now, unfortunately, that looks like what Jalen Daniels is a mid-tier, even by quarterback efficiency standards, below average or bad quarterback. Kansas does not have the supporting cast or defense to win or dominate with that level of quarterback performance. They need Daniels to succeed. For Illinois, on the other hand, they're building momentum, and it's not like they had a phenomenal performance either. Yes, they won. They had the better overall performance. I mean, Kansas outgained them, but not by that much. Illinois won the turnover battle by +3. They barely won time of possession, and they had the better passing attack. They had the better quarterback in Saturday's game, and that's impressive. Luke Altmaier on the season, he has a QBR of 70.5, which is 41st. 405 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions yet. He's only been sacked twice by a Kansas defense that I think is good. 9 carries, 31 yards on the ground, 3.4 yards per carry. He's completed 71.4% of his passes against a Kansas secondary that features Mello Dotson and Kobe Bryant, who I think are some of the best corners in the country. He completed 64% of his passes. So is Luke Altmaier changed? We'll have to see, but through 2 games, the performance, the numbers say that yes, he is better than he's better than I expected him to be, and he's better than he was last year. And Brett Bielema is still Brett Bielema. And if you followed Brett Bielema in Big Ten football, you know exactly what that means. A scrappy team that plays for its coach, that doesn't quit, that wins close games. This was a Brett Bielema moment in the most memeable and also best way possible, beating a team that is ranked ahead of whoever Brett Bielema is coaching, in this case Illinois, a team that probably profiles as a superior team in talent, in potential, in current power ratings, and probably how they'll perform for the rest of the season, and Illinois earns a win. Whenever I say a team steals a game, that doesn't imply they didn't earn it. That implies they took victory and they won. Stealing a win is not a discrediting of the team who won. It's a credit to the coaching staff, to the fact that whether your team for most of the game performed at an inferior level, which was not the case here, or your team overcame what looked to be a much better team, a much more talented team, and you won, and you just outcoached them, you out-schemed them, your players played better, and especially when, I mean, who would have thought that Jalen Daniels would be the inferior quarterback to Luke Altmaier? I don't know if anyone would have thought that, but on Saturday, that was the case. And so far through this season, since this was a big game for both of these teams, that's the case. That's a credit to Illinois' coaching staff, to Brett Bielema, the head coach, to the strength and conditioning coach, the offensive coordinator. Aaron Henry, their defensive coordinator, put on a show. 3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, holding Kansas to under 5 yards per pass attempt with great receivers, great tight ends. That's a credit to Miles Scott, Xavier Scott, Dylan Rosiak, and just all of these defenders for Illinois. That defense looks way better than last year when, due to injuries and I think also a lot of newness and just poor coaching and play overall, they were not a good unit. Also credit to David Olano, Illinois' kicker, 3 of 3 on field goals, long of 50, 2 and 2 on extra points. Credit to Hugh Robertson for Illinois, their punter, 4 punts, 194 yards, averaged nearly 50 yards per punt attempt, and 2 were inside the 20. Good game overall by Illinois on defense, special teams, and they played a relatively clean and disciplined game in terms of just getting the fundamentals right on the offensive side of the football. My MVP of this game, the player of the game, is Xavier Scott, cornerback for Illinois. 8 tackles, all of them solo, a sack, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6 in this game. What more do I have to say? If he just puts up like 2 more performances like that, he'll probably be listed as a first teamer in media and coaches for the All Big Ten team. And that's with a conference that features Will Johnson, Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, Jabbar Muhammad, Tommy Hill, etc. I mean, that's a great game right there by any player. Even if it was against a lower level group of 5 team, that'd be a great game. And this was against Jalen Daniels and Kansas and an offense that, as of right now, still has a reputation for being high flying. I know that Andy Kotelnicki is gone and Jeff Grimes is in, but they still have players on that offense. And for him to have that type of game is impressive. Totally a breakout game. Hopefully he has more games like this. And what more can be said? Xavier Scott had an elite performance, and Illinois' defense overall was much more impressive than I thought they were going to be. Thank you all so much for watching this reaction and analysis of Illinois versus Kansas. Remember to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and comment your thoughts down below. Thanks to Crash2488 and Brasco Rascal for being Heisman Patreon members and sponsoring this video and channel. Thanks to Chris Lane, Cutter Little OH, Ismar, and Tyler Nye for being All-American members and sponsoring this video and channel. Thanks to John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrell for sponsoring this video and channel as all conference members. If you want merchandise signed by me, sign up as a Heisman member for $25 a month for 6 months, and you'll get that signed by me and delivered to you. Merchandise of your choosing. If you do not want any strings attached to merchandise, you can just purchase it through my merchandise store, which you can find along with my Patreon page link via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you soon. Go Jayhawks, and go Illini.